My name is Chase Rouse. I'm with College Park Volunteer Fire Department out of College Park, Maryland. This is our new rig that we have ordered from Pierce. Pierce Aero XT. Basically got it similar to our old Pierce, that's a 2012. Trying to replace the fleet, get new things moving. So a lot of these things here are similar to that piece with a couple changes in mind. So from the front perspective, everything is similar to our older rig. Between our front sleeve, a bumper line, which is 2-inch, 150 feet, we carry that. The reason for our bumper line is just positioning issues we have within PG County and in College Park, Maryland. We have a lot of tight streets, not a lot of chances to move out of the way, and it adds us another option to pull off the front, given a case-by-case scenario. But it does get used quite often. A lot of companies in that area also have a line off of the front. For our cabin layout, we try to fit as many people as we can, being a volunteer firehouse. At a given time of day, we could have between 4 to 8 people. Most of the time, we tend to get out with 7 people riding the engine, between all the pack seats filled and the extra pack out of the high side there. So try to get as many people on, and then they're also used as ride-along seats when prospective members come in. Our pump panel, again, this is going to be a similar layout to what we have on our 2012 Pierce. The reason we kind of kept everything the same was it worked for us, works for our area, and then for the driver training purposes to try to keep everything similar. The differences with this piece than the 2012 is that we added a booster line. So we have our reel there, and as you can notice, some of our labeling, it was a smaller point, but we changed it for this rig was to delineate between officer and driver, the curb confusion, and make it simpler for the driver. The reason we went with a reel this time versus the other piece is that we wanted an LDH intake on the driver's side of the pump panel. On the 2012, we had a trash line here that we use for trash fires, small fires, anything kind of not anything too huge, too big. So we opted to change that out, have an LDH. To take place of that, we added the booster reel off of the officer side. So this is our back step. Everything now is pulled off of the rear of the wagon. We have usually around a 2.5, a 250-foot long line, a 400-foot long line, and then an 1.75-inch, 200-foot line off there. In between is our LDH intake. We run with 4 and 3. It's a county thing, helps us out. The reason we kind of pull off the back step is just it works for us, and through a couple of years of building rigs and speccing everything out, we've gotten rid of any crosslays. We don't do any of that. We never found a use for it. It doesn't work with us, so we ended up leaving everything off the back step and then leaving room on the crosslay area. For this side of the officer side rear, we had this lowered. This is where our standpipe racks go. College Park has a lot of high rises come in, especially being right next to the University of Maryland, having an area where, as of yesterday, they're building 3 new high-rise buildings, we classify that as 6 stories or greater. So our high-rise packs are between that and our 1.75-inch line are the things that get pulled the most. So these being a little bit more easily accessible, easier to put away and deal with, was a bigger priority for us at this point, especially with, again, how College Park is growing and the University of Maryland is growing. So on this side, we have our exit for the booster reel. Again, the reason we implemented that is because compared to our 2012 piece, we had a trash line that was used. We opted for this instead. The other change, if you've noticed, is that we don't have a transverse compartment. We had a transverse compartment that held ancillary tools, kind of ended up being a lot of things that we used for a while, had a debate on it, realized we don't really use the shovels and the rakes that much anymore. So to give the room for the booster reel, we had to take away the transverse, but that also gives us more up top space with our deck gun up there. Up here you'll see the booster reel and the extended space we had to accommodate for that here. The other only change up here compared to our 2012 is that we added a electric valve control for our deck gun. So you have the one here and one on the pump panel. The reason we chose that was easier control and deployment of the deck gun between our members. Coming up here, they control when it's open, know what's going on, and can't be surprised, and eliminates any possible issues. And then you also see up here, you'll see the blue light. That is a College Park special. We implemented that, I believe, in the 1950s, where people were still riding the back step, laying out. That light signified it's time to lay out. And then across the board, up until now, we still have it on top of our rigs as more of a historical piece. It's only, the story behind that is because we're the closest firehouse to the University of Maryland. Man, I appreciate you guys taking the time, looking at this. Again, everything here is what works for us. You know where to find us if you have any questions. So.